everybody.
Oh, there's a different rendition of that.
We weren't here last week. Why didn't? Well, I mean, I know I was gone, and it was
out of town, and I had better.
And it was
shit to do.
Thanksgiving, and you weren't going to sit down here and do this by yourself.
Well, no, you do all the research. As you say, I just add the color.
Where was the incentive for you to sit down and do this? What happened? Were you busy last week, or
no?
Figured you wouldn't. I figured you would still want to be out of the house a little bit more, maybe. So I thought maybe you would still want to.
No, I went to
recording.
the bar.
Did you really?
Yeah. Well, Wednesdays are usual. My friends and relatives have a pre-Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Where we get together at like 1:00 and just start diving in before we have to go home and prep for Thursday.
On the Wednesday before?
Yeah.
You guys get half lit, then try to go home and do Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this was a little tamer than normal. We didn't have the near the characters. We still had a lot of fun, but we didn't have near the characters that we.
So this is like a tradition for you to do, kind of like this.
Yeah, for the last several years. Yeah.
So you go just to a bar somewhere.
Well, yeah.
Or just wherever there's booze, which is your house.
No,
really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a specific bar that I won't mention here.
Sure.
But I don't want to call anybody out just in case. But yeah, we had fun, but it was, it didn't last as long as normal, and so therefore it didn't get as out of control as normal.
That's just age, is what that is. That's really where this comes into play. Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving, though? Did you have good turkey and everything?
The turkey turned out amazing.
Really?
I spatchcocked a turkey again.
I don't know any of those words, and they sound a little. To
I brined it for a day, and then I spatchcocked it. So
spatchcocking.
Yeah.
All right.
So you brine it. You know what a brine is?
Yeah, I know that.
Everybody
salty water.
Salty water, sugar, maple syrup.
Okay.
Some bourbon.
Ooh, all right.
A bourbon maple syrup brine. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so to spatchcock it, what you do is you flip it over and you cut the backbone out of it.
Okay.
Right.
Turkeys have backbones?
It's a vertebrate. Follow along with me.
Okay. I don't think I've ever cooked a turkey.
And then after you cut the backbone out of it, you flip the bird over and then you push down on the breast so you can hear the breast.
Oh God. Okay. Good.
You break the breastbone.
Right. After you spatchcocked it, you break the breast. Got it.
That is called that is, and then you flatten it out so that you, instead of cooking it like a whole bird,
it's a flat bird.
It's flat. So then you
what a horrible name for it, though.
I didn't make it up. I didn't.
Why don't we just call it flat bird anyway?
And then you kind of tuck the legs under and the wings under, and it just, so it only takes a couple hours to cook it. And I put it on my smoker, my Traeger.
Yeah.
And I was worried because it was a little bigger than what the recipe said and how long to cook it, so I put it on a little early, and then it got done earlier than I thought it was going to be, so I was really worried that it was
very rarely does the turkey get done before anything else. So
so then I was worried that it was going to be overcooked and drier, but it was so juicy. I took it out and let it rest for like 20-30 minutes, and it was oozing. It was so moist. It was so good.
All of the words you're using to describe this.
Oh, my God.
Oozing spatchcock with breast pressing. I don't know if I want to eat any of your turkey.
Everyone should press more breasts.
Okay.
I keep telling my wife that.
I DoorDashed donuts from Albertsons on Thanksgiving Day. That's what
we're so vastly different, aren't
we? We didn't. Nobody wanted to cook a turkey or do anything for Thanksgiving, which was totally fine by me. I was in San Diego at this time, and so everybody kind of got what they wanted to eat for Thanksgiving, like in the morning and midday, and then at night they made a ham with like all of the fixins is what we did. But I had never DoorDashed anything. I know this makes me sound so out of touch with whatever, but nobody had any donuts in the house, and I like donuts. So I'm like, on Thanksgiving Day,
the Tim Horton shirt.
That's my Tim Horton pullover today, or my zip up. I didn't think you'd be able to get any donuts on Thanksgiving Day, but in San Diego you can. There are lots of donut places that are open, and so I had lots to choose from, and it was kind of cool. So
you can DoorDash weed in California.
Oh, you totally can.
What makes you think you couldn't get donuts?
Well, I don't know. You would think Thanksgiving Day, most everything's going to be closed. But then you got to remember you're in a giant city. Yeah, and those things are still going to be open.
There's heathens everywhere.
What? Southern California? No, they're not heathens. It's just
You know, they don't believe in Thanksgiving. Bah humbug, Turkey Day.
they do too. Stop it.
It's
Okay.
like tofu day for some of them flitting around.
This is going to be an entire.
And how is it? I mean, I can only imagine that your wife is a fairly decent cook.
Yeah,
and
very much so.
That makes me think that maybe your mother-in-law is a.
She's also a very good cook. Just nobody wanted to do anything. We didn't.
Well,
nobody
but for
wanted
the
to.
love of Pete, how long does it take to throw a turkey in the
I
oven?
don't know. It's all the preparation and the cleanup afterwards, and nobody wanted to do it. That is a very Southern California thing. Yeah, I don't feel like it.
Let's DoorDash some weed
Right,
and
let's
screw
DoorDash
Thanksgiving.
some weed and donuts.
Maybe
Just,
Jimmy John's will bring us a turkey sandwich.
see, that's how you do it. All right, I'm gonna bitch this entire episode. Can I?
Are we gonna have to trade roles? Because I'm not very good at being the straight man.
Being not the bitcher.
Right.
I decided to spend a good portion of my time going to various liquor stores because I'm in San Diego. Look at my options, right?
Sure.
I've got to be able to find something that I'm looking for when I'm out in San Diego. So I start my journey at a liquor. Well, I started it
This
on
is going to be a family circle map, folks. Just wait.
my father-in-law did 30 years in the Air Force, so he can get onto the bases, the Navy base out there, the Marine base. You can go into all of those.
Yeah,
you can
I saw
go.
some. You took some pictures of Smoke Haze stuff out there.
Yeah, you can get into their liquor stores and into their BXs and into the places where you can shop.
I always thought it was PX. It's BX.
BX, yes. I have no idea. I should know that, and I feel bad, but it's BX.
And is that different than like the commissary? Are they
yes, because I think the BX has like you buy clothing and everything. Their commissary is more like just a giant grocery store. Right? If you're in the military and I've effed this up, just please don't come at me, okay? I know I should know better, but I don't pay a lot of attention to that, right?
It's not like they have a big sign out front or anything.
Right. They do, and I don't even look at it. But they have a great liquor store on the Navy Exchange there. And they had some pretty cool stuff in there. I sent you a picture of some of the things. There were 4 specifically.
Yeah, and that was the last text you sent me.
Yeah, I know. I've screwed up texting somehow. But anyway, I thought, okay, I went there. They didn't really have what I'm looking for. They have a chain out there called Bevmo, which is sort of like a Total Wine in not quite in size, but it's a big store.
Sure.
I sent you that picture of that Jack of what's the big bottle that you have in your office?
It's a 3 liter.
The 3 liter, yeah, the 3 liter with their like membership was $20. A 3 liter bottle of Jack.
That
at
was
this
a
place.
3 liter.
That was a 3 liter.
I don't think you can sell a 3
Yes.
liter bottle in the States.
That was a 3 liter bottle because it was on a military base.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
So
You didn't buy those?
no, how was I going to get that home?
I don't know.
But I thought of you right away. Isn't that enough?
No.
I thought of you and I took the picture and I sent it to you.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that when you
It
said,
was.
"Do you want all of these?" And clearly, at the time, I thought, "Well, that seems a little ridiculous." But I didn't know they were 3 liter.
Yep.
Yes, the answer was yes.
Okay.
It's always yes.
Next time I'll remember. If I ever see a 3 liter under $25,
We've had this conversation.
I know.
Whenever anybody asks you, the answer is always yes.
it's always yes. I get it. Right. Okay. So they had one bourbon that I found that I actually have been looking for that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Kind of ties into my whole rant on this podcast here.
Oh,
okay. Buddy. That you're sipping on a little bit right now. Went to Total
This is
Wine.
pretty good, by the way.
Total Wine, if you're familiar with it, if you go to Minneapolis or Denver, you probably know it's a giant liquor store chain. And they do frequently have lots of hard to find bourbons.
That's where you missed my Eagle Rare by 20 minutes.
They had Eagle Rare 10 on the shelves that sold out about 30 minutes before I got there at $41 a bottle.
That's pretty good.
Which is the best price you're going to find for Eagle Rare 10, but it's very obviously hard to find. So after I was done with those big ones, I thought, okay, I'm going to go.
What did Bruner say the other day? I think they should change the name to Eagle Impossible to Find.
Eagle Impossible 10?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Something like that.
I thought, okay, let's take out my map and let's go to these little tiny liquor stores.
I'm the map.
And I
sing
did that. I didn't. What's
Were you
that
like
from?
Joey? Did you have to get in the map?
No.
Oh.
I used Google Maps.
I'm trying to help.
Like normal people
I'm trying
do.
to make this an interesting
So
story.
this is, if you'd shut up for a minute, I'll get to the interesting part of it. So at the bottom of the
Kind of a
hill
long path, folks.
to where my brother-in-law lives is a place that my father-in-law goes to fill up his propane because they have a big camper that they stay when they're out there in California at my brother-in-law's house. And he's like, there's a liquor store in there. I'm like, oh.
Not in the camper.
Nope.
In the propane store.
In the propane tank store. Okay. There's a liquor store there too.
Let's back up. Your folks go all the way out to
my in-laws.
Your in-laws go out to San Diego for a fairly extended amount of time.
A couple times a year at least. Yeah.
And then your brother-in-law makes them stay in a camper?
No, they choose to stay in the camper.
Oh.
Yeah, they do. They bought a nice 30-plus foot camper. My brother-in-law has a beautiful house on the hill above Poway in California, and he's got about 10 acres all around him, kind of with trees and whatever. So they kind of camp out right there. Okay.
Okay.
So
is it your brother-in-law's camper, or is it your?
No, it's my father-in-law's.
Your in-laws have a
Nobody
camper.
cares about this part of the conversation.
All right,
my father-in-law's
fine.
camper.
Propane store.
Okay,
Let's go.
That's where he goes to fill up his propane. But he said there's a liquor store in there. I'm like, oh, okay. Might as well stop down there. That's the closest place to my brother-in-law's house. I walk in, and it looks like, it feels dusty when you walk in. You know how you go into some places and you're like, ugh, sort of a deal.
It's like an old barn smell.
Yeah. I turn to the right. I see a wall of liquor, and my eye instantly spots Weller Special Reserve on his shelf. I'm like, there's no way in a place like this can exist. I look over, E.H. Taylor's, 8 bottles of it. I look down below the Weller Special Reserve. There's a bottle of Russell's Reserve 13 that's sitting there. Then I glance over to the Eagle Rare 10 that's on his shelves as well. I'm thinking, I'm in a store that fills propane tanks. That's also a liquor store. How does he have all of these? I'm like, well, I know I don't have enough suitcase space.
Because why don't you tell me how much they were charging? I can figure out why he still has them all sitting there.
The Weller Special Reserve was $90. The Wilson's, or the Russell's rather, 13 was, I think, 150, 180, somewhere in there. The E.H. Taylor he had on special for $80, which was normally 140 that he had.
Yeah, what he's done is he's tripled everything. I was just looking at it. I had my daughter buy a bottle of the Weller Special Reserve in Brookings.
Like right now?
No, it's been a few months.
God.
Ago. But even in Brookings, which is a little inflated compared to even around here, generally speaking, for $32.99.
Are you kidding me?
No, I just looked it up.
Okay, so
I saw it on their web or on their Facebook page.
After I was done at that store, I went to 2 other stores. Oh my God, that's on their Facebook page right now?
No,
that's the one.
I screenshotted it and sent it to Tori and said, "Hey, go get this right now."
She went and got it because you have an awesome daughter. We get it. Okay,
well, and it helps that she's old enough.
I went to these other liquor stores, exact same thing. They had all of these bourbons that we hunt for feverishly in Western South Dakota, 3 times the normal cost.
Yeah.
CYPB they had in one store, $850 was what they were charging for that bottle.
I think when we had it on the allocated deal here, it was like $200, $225. Is that right?
That sounds right. And you know what? I might have bought it for $200. Even though I don't think its MSRP is $200 on the CYPB, is it?
I think that's about right.
Or maybe it is. Okay. Well, whatever it is.
I'm making that up because I know that Bruner doesn't go crazy on his stuff.
No,
so.
I would have bought it for sure. So I was just mad. I was furious at these places that had, and it was tons of it. I'm like, why are you selling it for 3 times? And obviously nobody's coming in here to buy it because you have this much of it sitting on your shelves. And pure, people that are hunting this obviously are coming into your store too and being like, I'm not paying for that. It's because some of the bottles were dusty that I saw. So I know they had been there a while.
They should name a song after that.
Dust on the bottle? Shut up, Rob. Okay, so.
There might be.
Here's what I want to get to really quick. And I put this article on our Whiskey at Work Facebook page, if you just want to read the whole thing. But I kind of want to go through this a little bit. And this isn't for those of you that are really, this isn't for, the people that we know in the whiskey world that really understand all of this. This is for those of you that are new to it. And you've gone to maybe Mountain West Whiskey Festival, and you've tried something that you've really liked, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the liquor store and I'm going to buy that. And then you get to the liquor store and you ask, and the guy behind the counter laughs in your face because there's no way that something like that exists, right?
Well, it exists, just not.
But you're not going to be able
store.
to get your hands on it. So
No.
you've got limited supply, soaring demands, branding maneuvers on a lot of this stuff, right?
Well, a lot of it is probably artificially generated by the distributors and the producers and everything else.
So just imagine. Okay, so just put it into perspective, like your favorite coffee suddenly becomes double or triple the price, right? That would really make you mad, wouldn't it?
It would make me mad because I don't drink coffee.
I know you don't. That's so weird to me. So weird to me. So what are the?
It's a good thing we couldn't make coffee today because the sink was backed up. There's a lot of people that run around here really mad.
Oh, there was this one. Oh, that's why everybody was kind of crabby.
Everybody was tense because they couldn't get the morning fix. I just had a Diet Coke and went about my day giggling.
I just have coffee in the morning at home like you're supposed to, and then that's when you quit drinking it.
Well, you'd think that. I mean, there's a lot of people that buy that stuff around here. It was throwing people, making them tense.
Do you ever wonder have you ever sat down and thought about what the root causes are for this allocation and why we have this allocation? I mean, do you know what they are?
Well, I think a lot of it's multifaceted, right? It's the distributors are understanding now that their products are more in demand, so they can charge more for it. More people, it is in more demand, so the price, it's supply and demand. The prices are going up.
Is it supply and demand though? Well, don't you think the supply exists?
The supply comes from the distillers, though. The demand comes from the general public. And then there's the people that are hoarding it. There's the people that are collecting it, that are doing nothing with it besides hoping for the price to go up, that they can sell it to somebody else for more than they paid for it. The collectors, it's just a combination of things.
In my naivete,
that's why you drink Jack Daniels. You don't have to worry about it.
I don't think that the supply is the problem. There, I said it, hot take. I don't think that it is. I watched a TikTok video the other day that I thought I said to you.
No one would ever lie on TikTok.
Well, there's video proof that I thought I sent. I thought I sent this to you. Some guy in this exclusive liquor store on the East Coast, and he's showing shelves, okay, of Old Fitzgerald. There was 12, 14 bottles of it there, of all the different decanters. Price tag anywhere $1,000 to $2,000. All of them were kind of priced in that range. All of the Wellers I had never even heard of were on this shelf.
Right.
Stacked 3 deep. Okay. And this is a tiny little liquor store. And then he's like, well, that's not the half of it. Let's walk upstairs. Hold on. I got to buy all these boxes of Blanton's. And on the steps leading up were cases of Blanton's sitting there. How does a whiskey store, a liquor store, get all of that? And if the supply is so bad,
well, I wonder. I'm guessing that's New York is getting a higher allocation of these. It
wasn't New York though. It was. I mean, it was an East Coast town, but still.
See, details matter.
But these little tiny places, when we can't get a bottle of any of that out here at all.
I think if you watch the news at any given point, you will quickly understand that people from 100 miles in from either coast don't think that any of the rest of the country exists.
We exist, Rob. We exist. We just want to drink some whiskey. Right?
You watch every morning, or at least I do, the Good Morning America, and they talk about how crappy the weather is and going to be or how wonderful it is in the Northeast. Right. Well, I don't give a shit. The only people that care about that are the people that live in the Northeast. That isn't national news, generally speaking.
Sure.
But there's never hey, remember we had Winter Storm Atlas in South Dakota that killed half the cows in the country.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. You're not supposed to eat cows.
Well, we don't eat beef out here. Okay, so after you complain about this, right? After you go on and on about not being able to get some of these cool bourbons that we've always searched to find, then what are the solutions? What are the answers to it?
Drink Jack Daniels and shut up. And find it everywhere.
The funny thing is, honestly, I mean, I know you're trying to be funny with that, but that's true. That's what you do. Will we ever reach a point where we stop trying to hunt so much and some of that comes back? I mean, why does everybody go on the hunt for the unicorns in whiskey instead of spending a little less on these up-and-comers to try to find what will be the next one? If we made that progression, then
that would help for sure.
All of the other ones would kind of come back, and you might find ones that are even better.
But it's that is, you know, one of the reasons why we liked Proof Artisan and Crooked Furrow so much.
Right.
Right. To me, it had great flavor. It was not easy to find, but it's easy to find around here now.
Right.
It's a local-ish craft distillery. They do great stuff, and it's pretty good. Now, you can argue a little bit on, not necessarily with Proof, but some of these where, you know, they are still wanting $50 or $60 or $70 or $100 for a bottle that hasn't maybe been brought up to its potential.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to call out Proof on that because I love their stuff, but you go out and you find some of these craft distilleries. There's one in southeastern South Dakota that I won't mention, but they're pretty proud of their stuff, and it's not very good. You know what I mean? I think in order to be able to do that, those folks have to be willing to, I think, provide a sampling at about any store that offers it.
But isn't it also on the consumer of whiskey to buy some of those?
Yes.
When you're at a liquor store and you can't find the Eagle Rare or the E.H. Taylor or the Weller or the Blantons or whatever you're looking for, don't walk out of there.
Yeah, go find the store pick or go find the local
or just something you've never tried before. I think that's how we break this circle of this, is finding something a little bit different and unique and something that you might like. And then I can get a bottle of one of the good ones. This is all selfish, too. It's all a rant and it's all selfish, for sure.
Well, I mean, it's the same deal, though, that everybody's got to be willing to do that, right? And not everybody is. It's like, well, the flu wouldn't spread if everybody was willing to stay home when they got sick, you know?
Right.
You know,
but when people
aren't that smart.
But don't you, as a whiskey drinker, don't you like to find new things? Or do you just want to be comfortable in what you have and you don't want to branch out? Is that the question instead?
I don't know. That's not really me, but to be honest, I haven't really bought any in a while. I'm still trying to get rid of stuff on my shelf so there's room. But in my travels, when I was driving around with kids to soccer and basketball and gymnastics and whatever the hell else they were into, that's what I would do. I mean, I'd go into these liquor stores for the weekend, you know, adult time, and get something that I'd never heard of or never seen before that I was pretty sure that we didn't have back here at home.
Right.
And you know, to be honest, it was a little hit or miss. I ran into some that were dogs, and I ran into some that were okay.
Yeah.
And now some of those that I was buying outside of the state are now here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was long before I was a bourbon connoisseur, influencer, or whatever.
Sure.
Which none of that is true. But
we tried.
At least I have a bunch of them on the shelf now and can talk to them a little better. And you know, I might go back in and see some of those same bottles now and enjoy them a lot more.
I think the answer to it is, try something different. Go to the store picks. Make sure that you are with like-minded people that like to do this too. You know, there are whiskey groups you can be a part of, like Dakota Whiskey Territory, which is we were fortunate enough to get into.
I see a lot of those guys that are on there on these trips that they go on, and they come back or post photos of stuff that I've never heard of before.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I imagine that's a little bit. They'll post all of the Weller and the Eagle Rare and the Bookers and Bakers.
Well,
and,
that gets you the clout, is what
you
that
know,
does,
and
for sure.
then they've got this store picker. I mean, Bruner's a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he goes somewhere, he goes and searches out the store picks.
And that's kind of what I've started to do too, as long as it's not, you know, I like to find store picks of the whiskeys that I'm not familiar with. You know, if it's a Knob Creek or if it's something that I see all the time and that's their store pick, I'm still probably not going to get it. I want to find, you know, we talked, I think last time about the Southern Star or the Backbone or the ones like this, that some of these guys that have better palates than me go make that store pick. And then I know, well, I can trust these guys. And I've never heard of this whiskey, so I bet it's going to be pretty good, you know, because I know what their palates are and I know what they like.
Oh,
right?
With Bruner and the
Yeah, with guys that do that.
Yeah, but I mean, he would go out and said he was in Texas a while back and brought back a couple of store picks just because he knew those guys as well.
Yeah,
and I forget what they were.
And I think that's cool. And I wish that's the direction.
Well, there's a lot of stores around here that are making store picks.
Right.
You know, there's.
But make store picks of the ones that we're not familiar with.
Well, you have to be able to get on the list for that distillery to get that pick.
But you would think those up-and-coming distilleries, though, would be a shorter wait list because they'd kind of want you to, maybe.
But then you are also, in Bruner's defense, I think, in the BRBN network, you have to, the lesser-known bottles, I think, are a tougher sell, no matter how good they are. You know, you can sit there and say how great it is, but if Joe Public walks in, they're still looking for those whatever bottles or what they're normally used to drinking, and it's getting them to go get a Southern Star store pick for whatever the price point is. I don't even know. Well, maybe it's a harder deal, and I think Bruner will give you a sample or a taste of any other store pick.
And that's a good point. Always ask if you go in. Always ask for a sample of a store pick, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you that sample. But I think that's the point. Trust these guys. They're the ones that are putting up the money. So they're not going to be like, well, I'm just going to grab a bottle of Black Velvet and
buy 20 cases of this and hope.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with it, take the chance, because they had to front the cost. And they're not going to put stuff on their shelves that they think is crap.
Well, chances are, if it's not that good, you can always dump Coke on it.
Oh, God. Ruin it with that. You wouldn't. No. No. Okay. Well, that kind of leads me into what you and I have been drinking right now, which is, I saw this on a list. This was a while back, a couple months ago probably. And I know it's going to be in our Advent calendar. I know it's in that too, which is another reason why I wanted to buy the bottle.
Well, maybe we should have tried that first and then bought the big bottle.
No, because first off, how cool this effing bottle is. All right. Number one reason why I decided to purchase this, outside of the fact that it was recommended on a lot of these lists. It's only available.
Is all right.
The bottle is beautiful.
The topper is cool.
Listen, that's the topper. That's metal. All right. And it's meant to look like a bolt top from farm equipment.
Oh, all right.
See? Now you get it, right?
Look at you being all researchy and stuff.
What we're drinking is only available in Nevada and California, and it's called Bourbon Pursuit. It's called Frey Ranch.
Yeah, how is it that Bourbon Pursuit has millions of views?
I know.
And didn't do enough research on it to even pronounce the name correctly.
And they probably say Glenfiddich, too. No. I listen, Bourbon Pursuit. There's not a chance in hell you're going to hear this podcast. And I like you guys. You're pretty cool. You do a good podcast, but come on. Research the name of the stuff before you say it.
Have your people do another 27 seconds worth of YouTube searches and figure this the fuck out.
This is what's really cool about this bottle is that it's.
I hope you tag them in this and they start.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe we should have a sign war.
I don't want to bet. No, we're not going to go after one of the biggest bourbon podcasts.
Well, what are they going to do to us?
I don't know. They could
get us
hurt
more views, maybe.
Maybe who knows?
Maybe they'll ban us. I kind of want to be banned.
All right, we'll go after him then, Rob.
I got on a Facebook page the other day, and somebody made this post that I couldn't read, and I just got on there and said, "Hey, Pat, I'd like to buy a some punctuation.
God, you can be an ass on social media too.
Well, come on, man. Give it a minute of thought. Jesus, I didn't know what you were trying to say. It was run-on sentences. It was weird.
Anyway, this is a 1,500 acre ranch that's east of the Sierra Nevadas in Nevada. Okay, it's and it's all. What's so unique about this is it is 100% grown on that land, distilled on that land, and bottled on that land. The first time it
Seems
leaves
like there's
their
a lot of shit going on for 1,500 acres.
The first time it leaves their facility is the first time it's ever left that land when you buy a bottle of it, which I thought was crazy. It's a 4-grain, which
plus the wife is kind of cute.
She was. She's very cute. And she's the one that's Mrs. Frey, which again, if you watch the video, you know how to pronounce the title of the bourbon.
Hell, you did that while I was standing in there giving you a hard time. And we don't have people.
No, we don't. It's
Bourbon Pursuit guys.
Well, you have people.
I do, but
you've got this.
I don't have a pronunciation key.
No, you don't. This is, like I said, it's 4 grain.
I did get it right though, but you said
you did. I think I said fry a couple times until I watched the video.
I guessed correctly,
but I wasn't going to get on. I wasn't going to get on the radio or get on the podcast and mispronounce it. But they what another unique part of it is the fields that the corn comes from. It's 66% corn. It's got rye, then it's got wheat and barley. Okay, those are the 4 grains that are in it. Their field is a flooded field. So they take the river that comes out of the mountains, and there's no pumps, there's no electricity, there's no nothing. They have the gates that floods the cornfield for their water that, where the corn comes. And I thought that was fascinating to do something like that. You don't hear that a lot when it comes to this.
Flood irrigation.
Right. Yep. That's exactly what it is. So
saves on the electric bill if you do it that way.
Oh, it would have to, obviously. And the water bill in general too, wouldn't it? If you're just pulling it right out of the river.
The rows of corn on the end of the field don't get near as big as those at the front,
but still, they only take the best. Anyway, what do you think of it so far? You've been sipping on it this whole podcast. I'm super impressed by it. It's all of it. This is one of the rare craft distilleries that put out 4-year bourbon. There wasn't 2,
they didn't
wasn't
start
3.
with 2.
Nope, they went to 4, and I think most of this, including this bottle, probably 5. I believe is what it is. So they didn't take any shortcuts to get it to market right away.
And you said you found this for $45-ish.
Yep,
right?
Around $45 at a Total Wine. It was $66 at the BevMo because I got excited and just bought it right away when I was there. So it's anywhere from $45 to $55 a bottle. Which again, for the bottle alone, it's beautiful.
It's pretty good.
Again, 4 grain.
Since they're not sending me a bottle, It's not, to me, in all honesty, it's not the best that I've ever had by any stretch, but it is good. It has got a serious full mouth feel.
It's very oily for a 90 proof bourbon,
and the nose on it is very nice. It seems to me just a tad heavy on the rye. Without seeing what the mash bill is itself, it seems a little spicy, a little peppery to me.
The rye wasn't too, if I remember correctly, it wasn't too, let me see if they had it on here. They had it on the little card, and I didn't bring that in. Oh, here it is. It's only 11.4% winter rye. 66.6, what? Yellow dent corn, 666, see what I did there?
Yeah.
10% winter wheat. 11.4 winter rye, and then 12% 2-row barley, which is malted on site as well.
Well,
so they
figuring
do
out how to put your glasses on.
Well, it's hard when you got headphones on.
It's got wires hanging out of his glasses. It's kind of funny. We should get back to doing these on video. I don't
know if we'll ever do those again. A lot of people though have asked us about doing those again, and we should get back to it, but it's just so production heavy. Yeah. And our production guy that does it is a little swamped, has been for the past year or so. But we're trying to get him.
I know. I've gotten kickback on some of the people who used to watch it too. I'm like, well, it's easier now. You can listen to it driving down the road.
Yeah. Well, You can on YouTube too. They have YouTube audio, which you can just listen that way. Anyway, this is good. It's above most craft distilled bourbons, I think. I think it's in a higher tier of that for sure.
Well, especially at that price point. I mean, the price point at $45 seems like it's a hell of a bargain.
It's sweet. You get you can get the corn right away. That dryness at the end, I think, is that rye a little bit. You get a little of that spice, a little dry. When I take that breath in after it, it's that kind of like sherry cask-esh dryness that you get sometimes. But it's not unpleasant. It's not off-putting at all.
I think it drinks a little hotter than 90 proof. Maybe that's just what I had for lunch.
It's a short finish, though. There's not much on that. For sure.
I had ghost peppers for lunch. So
well, why would you do that when you're going to be drinking whiskey later?
Because I had to eat something because I was drinking whiskey
Well, you didn't have to get ghost peppers. Eat something a little more bland.
I didn't start out with that. It just kind of happened. I just wanted a cheeseburger, and then I saw ghost pepper cheeseburger. I'm like, some bitch, better have that.
This is why nobody trusts our palates on any of this, probably, right?
It could have used a little sauce on it, to be honest.
Okay.
It was a little dry.
Mountain West Whiskey Festival tickets are officially on sale.
Platinums are going fast.
Are they really? Well, I would assume they would be. I'm gonna guess that the Platinums are going to be sold out by the end of December for sure, because they're going to be a big Christmas item, I would guess. Can I say how many Platinums we have, or
I don't.
Do you know how many Platinums we have?
I was looking.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to go to this premier whiskey event, here's what's awesome about it this year too, is due to circumstances we had to move the date of this one.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
But it's still within the time frame of when we normally have it. I think the earliest we've ever had it was on March 5th, and the latest we ever had it was on, I think, March March 9th or something like that. I don't know. Well, yeah, 9th would be, I think, the latest, which is the date that it's on this year. And
well, technically, I would think the 7th would be.
Yeah, probably you're right, because there's only for 7 days of the week. Anyway, usually we compete with the monster trucks that come through on that same night. Monster trucks this year are March 2nd. Mountain West Whiskey Festival will be March 9th. So if you've been torn between drinking whiskey or going to see monster trucks, you don't have to worry anymore. No, you can do both.
I'm guessing those are two different audiences.
They probably are. But anyway, mountainwestwhiskeyfestival.com.
I'm not seeing how I tell how many are left.
Okay. And pretty soon we'll be able to put the list up, won't we? Shortly. Oh, can you tell the other good news? About what's coming?
Oh, about...
Yeah, can you or not? I still haven't heard the story on this yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm dealing with stuff on my phone. You're talking about company.
Yes.
So, I don't know if this is 100% done, but we did...
Oh, you made it sound like that on the text, pal.
I said I figured out a way that it could be done. I didn't say that it was done. I have sent... I talked to the people with the alcohol group in the state capitol, and we talked to her and figured out that this could be done and relatively inexpensively.
So can we explain what we're talking about here a little bit?
So Company Distilling does not have a distribution agreement and is not distributed in the state of South Dakota currently.
And if you're not familiar with Company Distilling, it was the former master distiller of Jack Daniels we've
talked about him on here before multiple times.
Jeff Arnett.
Talked with him a few times on video and conference call, whatever. Anyway, he had asked a mutual friend about how if he donated a couple bottles of his stuff, could he get it poured? And no. You can't do that.
Okay.
Even though they have done it in events that we've been at.
Festivals.
Well, festivals is
not right. Kind of a big word, sure.
Anyway, so if he fills out some paperwork and pays a modest fee to register the labels, certainly he can get it here. And we've got a distributor that is willing to do that.
I'm so excited.
I have not heard back from Tom or from Jeff on that, but it was right before Thanksgiving, and I imagine going into Christmas it's going to be
a little crazy,
just as dumb. So
sure. So there is a chance we could have Company Distilling, probably I'm assuming bringing up their signature bottle, which is just called Company Distilling Bourbon. No, it can't be. Yeah, it is bourbon. Well, they Tennessee whiskey, right?
I think he has both.
Yeah. And then, and I hope he brings the 3 wood, if that's possible. If that one gets to come up too.
And the rye. I mean, it
be
depends
so
on
cool.
what. I mean, we'll have to have a conversation with
Okay.
Jeff, who apparently also told this friend of ours that we should reach out to him at any point. So.
Okay. Well, we'll do that once this gets locked down. Then I think we'll give him a call and get him on, so he can kind of give us the rest of the details. But it's going to be. I feel like this whiskey festival we have coming up this year is probably going to be one of our best, one of our biggest.
I hope so.
And I'm getting super excited for it.
We can get everybody to play nice together again. It'll be super fun.
I think we hugged it out. I think we're all good. MountainWestWhiskeyFestival.com is where you'll be able to get your tickets. And if you ever get a chance to come across a bottle of this Frey Ranch, I recommend picking it up. If you can get it around $50, it's a pretty good pour, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, and of course, if you want to try it, let me know in advance. You know how to find us.
It's quite tasty, and like you said, the bottle's nice. And the stopper is
keeping that forever. That's cool. It's hard to put in there.
You're never going to get it back out of it now. You're going to need scallops to get that out.
Easy. For you. All right. These guns. I just hurt my shoulder doing that. All right. Okay.
Yeah, he's so pretty when he flexes, folks. Be glad this isn't on video.
Thanks so much for listening.